Hey everyone, I'm Aaron Potratz.
And I'm Nathan Hawkins.
We are the Shrink Think
Podcast,
Podcast.
baby.
Enjoy the show.
Are you putting the YouTube on right now?
Am I putting the YouTube on?
Are you turning on the cameras for the YouTube?
What?
Do you have a YouTube?
Do you know how technology works?
Do you have a streaming
Kasim.
service? Do you have a streaming service you are interested in putting video on?
Yes, because we want people to watch the podcast episode.
It is for audio only. We can put it on Audible. That's what we should do. Then it would
Maybe
be
someday that will actually happen, actually.
You can read me like a book, baby. I would like to be read very quickly or very slowly. You can adjust the speed. Oh, if I'm talking really fast, and you never know what I say. You can do that with Audible.
This is why you wanted to be on video, just so you could ham it up.
I'm going full ham.
Full ham. Well, it was just Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas coming up. Get the ham ready. Oh, he's ready.
Oh, yeah. I think I just got coffee on my hand.
That's awkward.
I said coffee on my ham. No, I didn't. That's
Shall
all.
we?
That's a lie from the pit. You know what I mean?
Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to the Shrink Think Podcast. We are, as always, excited to be with you today. Do you know somebody in your life? Is there someone that, I don't know, you just kind of think maybe they need some help? They're maybe a great person, or maybe you struggle to identify them as a great person, and you think this person needs therapy.
Maybe they're no longer a great person.
Yeah, maybe they were. Maybe they never were, but you see their potential. Maybe it's the person that you're dating or married to.
You have such potential to be a good person. That's why I hang around. But you keep falling on your face.
That's why we're in a relationship, because you could be so great if you only went to therapy. Well, this is a question that actually a lot of people ask us and a lot of people talk about. And it's kind of like one of those things where, like, who do you talk to about that? Because I don't think really many just average people out there know, like, well, how do you tell somebody, hey, you need to go to therapy, or encourage them, hey, I think this would be really helpful for you. It's kind of like saying to somebody, you know what? You could do well with some makeup.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe you need some deodorant.
right. Like, you're immediately running across, like, you're going to offend somebody, or the fear is you're going to offend somebody. So we want to talk about this episode to be practical for how do you encourage someone that you might know, whether it's a coworker, a family member, a friend, maybe if it's even like a spouse or a adult child or something like that, or a parent. How do you encourage them to go to therapy without offending them in an appropriate way? Because, again, we believe as the Shrink Think Podcast guys, as licensed professional counselors, that therapy is not the kind of thing that's just for crazy people, messed up people, people who are broken, damaged, any of that kind of stuff. Therapy is a place for people who have some issues, like we all do, everybody has them, but they acknowledge them. Maybe they don't know how to handle them or how to work through them, and they need some professional guidance from somebody to help see themselves, see outside of themselves, and give them some practical tools for what can I do to be different from this, right? So that I can be the best version of myself. And I think we all could benefit from that. So if you are somebody who wants to encourage somebody in this, it's because you care. You know this person and you have a big heart toward them, or you see them struggling and you want them to be better than what they are because, you know, frankly, they're hurting and you hurt with them. So this episode is for you.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to give you guys the illusion that Aaron and I have issues because he said everybody does. Actually, we don't. So you were right.
We mean you all have issues. Right. This podcast is for you.
Yeah. So, but it is a very real thing that people will talk about. Like it happens in many sessions where I'll hear like, man, my friend really needs to go to therapy. They need it. I mean, it'll be because either they know that they're not crazy, and therapy's been helpful for them, and then they start thinking about like, man, if this would be helpful for somebody, for one of my friends or whatever, but they'll never go because they think this whole thing, they've made fun of me because I'm paying to talk to someone or whatever. And then there's other situations where it's a little more like, I wanted to say drastic, but
like
that's
delicate. It's a delicate situation.
No, like, well, okay, so it will be delicate no matter what, right? That's part of the issue why we're even talking about this. But on the other side, I mean, where you have somebody that everybody, the friend group that you're in, knows this person has, like, there are things that are, maybe they've got a lot of anxiety, or they've got something that's pretty obvious, like,
maybe big anger, like tons of reaction, or they're just difficult to be around as a group. They're always sort of like causing problems, or people sort of need to walk on eggshells around them, for example, or maybe even some trauma.
Right.
That clearly is affecting things that, it's just painful to watch.
Got some nightmares, maybe depression, like you can't get them to do anything, that you're calling them up and they won't go anymore. And the temptation is to kind of, you don't want to be a bad person, so you're trying not to ghost them in one way or another, either because they're so annoying in the group and everybody kind of knows, like, we just won't call them. We're just not going to call them. Or the other side, you can't get them off the couch. They won't go anywhere. Those are, by the way, the depression side of this is quite a bit more difficult because of the energy that's needed to do something moving forward. But at any rate, we're talking about those situations of, how do you deal with them?
Yeah, so first of all, I think I kind of said it in the beginning, but I want to approach this again kind of with the end goal in mind. Like, why are you even suggesting that somebody go to therapy? Again, it's not because somebody has problems because they're damaged or broken in some way. It's because there's something that is afflicting this person that they don't necessarily know what it is. There are situations where people just don't know what the affliction is, and it's kind of like everybody sees it except them. Or maybe they do see it. Maybe they do see the affliction that is impacting them, but they don't know what it is or how to get to it. Those are great reasons to talk to a therapist who can ask lots of questions, do some assessments. And by the way, we talked in a previous episode about why a good assessment matters. Go back and listen to that if you have not. It's very relevant because a good assessment will help to identify what is this affliction and maybe where does it stem from, like what's the root of it, so that we can address it properly. So maybe somebody's got an affliction of some kind that they don't know what it is or how to get to it. Or maybe it's the kind of thing that is, they do know and they just are not willing to deal with it, and it's just causing so many problems that somebody is like, man, this person just needs help. It's affecting so many people. Maybe it's like everybody in the office is just impacted by this person, or everybody in the family is just, avoiding this person. And you want to say like, hey, this is causing problems, like I really think you need some help. But we're saying, why are you sending them to therapy or encouraging them? It's not to, fix something that's broken, but it's to see something they can't see and to do something about a problem or a pattern that they don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, so that kind of, Aaron's touching on the next step here, like right in the last bit, which is, what's the point? Right? So you're like, okay, I believe in therapy. I want to get them there. So you bring it up and they're like, why? What do you think that's going to do? I literally talk to you. We talk about it. I've talked to you about it several times, and I feel better when I talk to you about it.
Or I have friends and I talk to them and it's free. I don't have to pay them to like pretend to care about me.
Right. Oh man, that bothered me.
I know. I'm like, I'm pretending? All right.
Okay. Yeah. So, and that got me kind of.
And right, and all the people who play professional sports don't enjoy playing. They're just doing it because it's a job. Sure.
Right, exactly. They only do it because they get paid a lot of money. So the point is that therapists are actually trained. Of course, you know that, but what I mean is sometimes a person needs to be able to go through a process of understanding, like, I don't know how this is going to sound, but it is what it is. What is normal, right? What's the normal line? For example, I kind of gave this a long time early in our podcast stuff. If you break a leg Okay, and you go to the doctor, and they're like, "Oh, this is normal." It's like, no, it's not normal, right? Because it's a broken leg. But what they're talking about is, oh, in the circumstance that you were in, and what happened, it makes sense that this leg would break this way. So, which also implies I can help get that better because I know the right way to put that leg back together, right? When you're in friendship, you care about each other and you're talking, but as things keep recurring, and because typically how people get stuck, not how they get stuck, but evidence that they are stuck, is you kind of keep talking about the same things. Which is probably why you're thinking like, oh my gosh, like you probably need some therapy. But you might not know, like what we're talking about right now, what is the point? Well, the point is the therapist can meet with them and understand how and why they are stuck, which the person, as Aaron was talking about earlier, doesn't understand what's going on. They can't, because we cannot, as people, we cannot observe ourselves, right? No one can do that. We talked a long time ago about the Johari window. It's somewhere in the episodes. So what you're doing is you're helping the person to come to terms with the fact that, like, look, you can't observe yourself. We have the same conversation often. I don't think I am helping, actually. Like, I think I'm supportive of you and I care about you, but I think we need somebody on the outside that is trained in some stuff to see if there's maybe something else going on that it might not even have anything to do. It could be physiological. There could be other things happening.
And that's, I think, you're getting into one of the key points about why it's important to talk to somebody that you care about this issue. First of all, just backing up for a second, is keeping the why in mind is really important, because I think it identifies the direction that your heart is going to go in as you're talking to this person. If you're thinking like, I care about this person and I see them struggling or in pain and I want them to get better and I believe this can help, then I believe that saying, hey, have you considered going to therapy, will come across a certain way versus like, I'm so frustrated, maybe you should go talk to somebody.
Right.
Not going to come across as well. But second of all, you're getting to the point of the feedback that you're giving when you're saying to somebody, hey, I can observe you and this is what I've observed. Like this is a pattern that I've seen in you. Or we just keep having the same conversations over and over. Have you thought about talking to somebody about like why that is? Because it seems like from my perspective, it doesn't matter what I say. It just keeps going round and round and round. And I've tried many things and it hasn't really worked or helped. And I don't know what else to do to help you.
Right. And the implication is, in this person, when they're talking to you, they are coming across like they want something from you, which maybe to feel better or for you to understand. And so essentially what you're doing is communicating, I do understand you, and I don't know what to do.
And I don't understand you.
Right. I don't know what to do with this information.
I understand you, and you're massively confusing to me. Maybe a therapist can figure you out.
Right.
Okay, that's what not to do.
Right. Yeah, so this is not as true as it used to be, but it still's out there. It's this idea that if you tell somebody that they need to go to therapy, I mean, you're basically saying, wow, you are messed up. You are, in the old days, it'd be, you are crazy, right? And so I think in general, we kind of know, like these days, like, people are mental health aware enough.
Yeah, the tides have turned, I think.
Yeah, to where it's like, okay. But they haven't turned to the place of where if somebody might be like, oh, therapy's great for other people.
Like kind of like you. Are you calling yourself out, Nathan? Just want to give you some feedback. You keep saying that other people have problems except you. Have you thought about talking to somebody? Oh, you do that all the time, and yet you still don't listen.
Let's move on from this weird array of questioning.
Deflection.
In case you run into that later. Yeah, so a lot of it, when you were talking earlier, Aaron, about the why, I just want to highlight, and you got into it, but I want to highlight for our listener that why is about their own why, not why the person needs counseling,
right?
But why you yourself want them to go to therapy. It may be that you feel like they keep putting things on you and you're done with it, and honestly, it maybe you just need to say that. Like it might not be that you need to get them into therapy, so to speak. Because what you're trying to do, I think, in that situation is still care about them, and not be like a bad person, so to speak, but then get them away from you because you're really sick of having this loaded on you all the time, and you don't know what to do with it anyway, and all you do is walk away feeling like guilty that you didn't say the right thing, or maybe and you weren't helpful, and mad that they are seemingly spiraling out, and you just get to watch them, and that's so frustrating.
So I think you're actually kind of speaking to another one of these components here, which is if you're going to talk to somebody about this, it's important to communicate and try to articulate that the issue is not the person. It's not, Nathan, it's not you that's the problem.
I know
it's
that, yeah.
something that has happened to you, or it's an issue that's outside of you, or maybe it's an issue that's between us. Because you've got some past depression or anxiety or trauma, and it's affecting our relationship. So put the problem between us and communicate something like, even if you're going to say like, this has been a burden, like, I really appreciate your friendship. This last 6 months or these last couple of years since you lost your job has just been really difficult, and I've seen what it's done to you, and it's made being friends with you really difficult. Like I don't recognize you, or it's really difficult to support you because it seems like you need something more than what I can provide, and I care about you and I want you to get better. Have you considered talking to somebody about this? Because I still want to be your friend. I don't think that it should be this hard for us, or we're just having so many conflicts or whatever. Right. That kind of thing.
Yeah, what you're getting into is the idea as a friend that maybe you are helping them carry their burden, but then you kind of realize, like, are we doing this for the rest of our life together? Like, is this because it's, yes, you care for your friend, but you can also see that there's a potential solutions that this friend is not looking at, and they are using you as the solution. And it would be like somebody getting a crutch, and then they are just going to always lean on it. It doesn't matter what goes, like they were injured a while ago, they're going to keep leaning on this thing, and things are in that metaphor, things are going to heal weird, right? And you kind of were like, I expected you to actually use this. Like, I was trying to help you not become a dependency, like your dependent person, that type of thing. I think I'm saying that backwards, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's not like on some level, it's not my job to carry that for you or to make you better. I'll support you, I'll walk alongside you, but at some point, if I'm feeling, as your friend, coworker, family member, if I'm feeling like this is like so much burden, or if me and several people are all feeling the same way, and it's kind of like never enough for you or whatever, like there's just so much weight that is put upon us that's just too heavy for all of us, that becomes a problem. Because relationships, healthy relationships, should feel some sense of we're carrying each other's weight, but it's like sort of a back and a forth, or it's a seasonal, like maybe there's a season where I'm helping you and then a season where you're helping me, and overall it's kind of balancing out. But if it's this prolonged, everybody's feeling the weight and it's just not getting better, and there's not maybe some awareness or acknowledgement of the person, like grief is a great example of that. There are seasons where somebody is going through grief, and it really just is everybody else is carrying the weight for that person grieving. Right, that's okay, because that grief has sort of a cycle. It has sort of a start and an end, and I don't mean it's linear. That's not what I mean. I just mean like when somebody loses someone, it begins. Or if somebody gets sick, and they're going to lose this person, the grief is going to begin, and there will be a process of that, and it will get better over time if they're processing their grief well. However, this is where like, hey, maybe you should talk to somebody who could come in, because if after a year, 2 years, 5 years, the grief is still as intense as day one, that might be an indication that, hey, this seems like you're not getting better from this, and I'm not sure what to do about it, because I've been supporting you and we've talked about all this, and you still seem like you're just as depressed as the first day.
Yeah, and I would even, just to say this, because I know that you were just giving an example, I mean, honestly, if somebody after 6 months is still the same as day one, then that would be an issue at that point. Yeah. That usually happens in traumatic grief, when it's all of a sudden type of thing. I mean, not, Anyway, separate thing, but as we kind of head for home here, it's this idea of part of your support of them is letting them know that you're not the way that the current way you're being is not supportive. It's not long term. It will not work. It's kind of the same idea, and I think that most of our listeners will understand this pretty quickly. The whole alcohol thing, like with drugs and alcohol, you cannot, if somebody is having that problem, you cannot continue to purchase stuff. That's not helpful. It's no longer fun. You are now helping them, sending them down the road.
Right, you're enabling that behavior.
Yeah. So it's the same idea of like when the person's, I thought that, what are you doing? You're saying you're going to abandon me. You're not going to help me anymore. You're not going to talk to me. Like, no, I am being supportive right now. This is me supporting you. I'm telling you, I'm giving you feedback, because the stuff that has to change is only changeable by you. Like, I can't do you for you type of a thing.
I will continue walking alongside you, and this is maybe the last thing we might recommend here is I'll continue, walking alongside you and supporting you as you're getting help. And if you want to process anything or bounce anything off of me, I'm happy to help you, because I do know you. And maybe as your therapist says some things to you in a different way, maybe than I've said it, or maybe they say some of the same things that I've said, I'm happy to tell you from my experience as your friend, family member, spouse, coworker, what I see that might be relevant, or give you some feedback of like where I might see those issues to support your journey. But I can't do it for you.
Right. And it's just, you obviously care about this person. Keep your why in mind of why you're asking. Be honest with yourself before you engage this conversation, so you kind of know. It's not about what you're going to say. It's about why you're going to say it. And that will help you keep oriented as you're caring.
And if you are the person that's receiving this, if somebody is telling you, or people in your life are telling you, hey, maybe you should talk to someone, maybe you should get help, I want to encourage you to not be defensive about it, at least just to consider it. You don't have to go, right? You don't have to just do what people are saying, but I always like to use the phrase, hey, would you consider? Because that's so easy to consider. Just think about it. Take a week, 2 weeks, a month, just to think about it. Could there be some validity here? Do these people actually care about me? Maybe are they seeing something that I don't see that could benefit me? Just consider it.
And have a great day.
Boom.
Boom, shagalaka.
Let's get ready to roll.
Actually, we just... No,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say we just rumbled.
Let's get ready to not rumble.
Maybe you rumbled in your pants.
Okay.
Luke, I'm your
Oh
father.
my gosh.
You will listen to me.
Yes, that is so awesome.
Either you didn't get any sleep last night, or you got 12 hours.
I don't actually
Or you're
know.
still hungover from last night.
Maybe.
From your 2 beers.
Yeah, that could be it. No, I really like this situation right now.
Because this voice is amazing.
It's like the perfect...
Luke, come here for a minute. I need to talk to you about your childhood.
Right? Stuff that Darth Vader never said.
I should have
I
said.
love you, little buddy. Come here, put your head on Daddy's lap.
Luke missed out on his whole childhood.
That he did. I've never thought about that. Sort of skip over it. It reminds me of the what was it, the Lego Ninjago movie, where what was it, the Lord somebody is like this evil guy in the town, and his son is like one of the superheroes, and they meet in this square or whatever, and he's like, "You ruined my life, father." He's like, "How could that be possible? I wasn't even there."
Right.
It's like my favorite line.
I wasn't even. Is that who's the voice of that? Is that Ben Stiller?
I don't remember.
Okay. Anyways, because
That's
that
funny
would be.
anyway.
All right.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Boom.